Hello and welcome back to the Aethercast Report. I'm your host Donovan, and there's been a game that came out recently that was released to mixed reception, but after updates listening to the feedback, it appears to be making a comeback. Today, we're talking about Crimson Desert, and here with me as always, Xander. What you been up to?
Yo, I'm just sitting here wasting my life away playing video games. As my parents warned me I would do.
And the man of the hour, the man who's played the most Crimson Desert, between the three of us, 100% of the Crimson Desert, Chance.
I am qualified to talk about this one.
For the first time ever.
Yeah.
Took a while, but we got there.
Yeah, it was bound to happen eventually.
You've been playing a lot of Crimson Desert, but from what I understand, you've probably only seen like maybe 10% of the game.
Oh yeah, no, it's absolutely massive.
So what has your experience with that game has been like since it first released?
So at launch, it was a little rough. I'm not gonna lie. The controls were really clunky, and you can get used to them. I did over the course of a few hours, but like, it wasn't ideal, and there was a bunch of jankiness that just like you can kind of feel as you're playing it. And through the last few patches, it's gotten better. I'm not going to say it's perfect, but it has gotten exponentially better from when it started. Like specifically, one of the things that I noticed on the last patch since I was playing yesterday is that whenever you go to glide, in previous patches before, it would have you lose altitude while you were doing the animation to start gliding. But now in this newest patch, it seems like either there's a slight lift or they actually just kept at the same altitude while that animation's going off, and it just feels so much better.
Yeah, those minor changes can make a big difference.
Oh, and the stamina it takes to sprint and fly and glide has been more than halved, which is absolutely huge since it's such a big game.
Yeah, absolutely. And you haven't even gotten the jetpack yet.
I didn't know there was a jetpack, and somebody spoiled it for me.
Oh, that's my bad.
It was Donovan.
A jetpack in a fantasy game.
Yeah, right?
Sometimes games are allowed to just be fun.
I kind of miss the level of creativity when game developers do weird things like that.
Yeah, this game is a hodgepodge of just like different ideas that they were like, yeah, let's just throw that in there. Why don't we do that?
And that's fun. And it seems to be working for them.
So you end up with the dog and cat armor is one thing. Dragons that you can also put armor on. Horse armor. There's lots of armor. One of my favorite things about this game that I just kind of need to gush on it for a little bit is how it doesn't hold your hand at all. Like, there's mechanics that I didn't know about in my first 10 hours playing that like genuinely will change the way that you play the game, but they don't tell you about them. So like, my favorite one is that you get a move where you basically punch stuff and it's got like a little bit of magic tied to it, so it drains some of your spirit. And when you do that punch, it just like kind of whacks the person and makes them buff it back. But if you do that punch while you're jumping, it will let you go vertically 3 times, and you can get so much height from doing that you can basically just change the way that you move around the map from running everywhere to just gliding, because you can get so high up from that. And it's just like, they didn't tell you, but it's fun and cool, and you figured it out yourself, and you felt really smart when you did it.
You know, there's actually a lot of that in Breath of the Wild.
It sounds to me like this game is just kind of like a giant sandbox for you to just kind of play around with the engine, see what you can come up with.
Yeah, don't play it for the story.
Yeah, I have heard that the story is lackluster at best, downright inconsistent at worst, to where even I've seen several articles saying that the main protagonist couldn't figure out heads or tails of the script as he was trying to record his lines.
Yeah, that's probably true. Cliff is such a nothing burger that it genuinely could have just been create your own character and it would have changed nothing.
Yeah, from what I understand, Black Desert Online is a lot like that too. You don't play it for the story.
Yeah, you can definitely tell that it's an MMO team that's making a single player game.
Yeah, we play Final Fantasy. We get good stories in our MMO.
Oh, very much so.
But it's getting to that point where like I'm still finding out new things about the game just because somebody like posted it online and I saw a Facebook video about it. Like, if you get a banner off of the ground from like one of the castles that you can raid, you just take a banner and you run around with it, and if you push X twice, or no, it'd be square. If you push square twice, it lets you vault with it.
Wow.
And the game doesn't tell you that. You're just pole vaulting.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's just stuff like that where you're like, oh, I didn't know that was the thing.
Could you imagine working hard and putting all these cool and unique mechanics into a game, and then you're like, yeah, we'll just let the players figure it out. We're not going to tell them about it.
Yeah, I think the first one that everyone figured out, like, kind of at the same time, was if you grab a tree with your Axiom Force power, which is like a grappling hook, and then you get on the tree and you push L2 to control the thing, and then you start reeling the right stick in circles, brings the tree backwards towards you, and you can launch yourself with the tree.
That's really cool.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just so much dumb stuff that they put in it that they're like, this sounds fun. And as a result, I'm having fun.
All right, Xander.
Yes.
Before this conversation, did you know anything about Crimson Desert aside from the AI thing?
I knew that it was a game that was initially developed. It started development as more of like an MMO, but then it just kind of stitched together into a more single-player game. That is far as much as I know or knew about it. I hadn't really seen any gameplay or anything about that. And honestly, all the exposure I've been getting is a lot of just reviews, news articles, and whatnot. I haven't actually sat down and played the game myself.
After hearing Chance talk about it, does it make you want to play the game?
It definitely would be something interesting to check out.
The answer that I've gotten the most is, it looks fun, but not for $70.
I can see that.
Well, I mean, it's a massive game, so I'm sure that like if you get into it, you're going to get your value out of it.
For all the people that have played it, I'm still in Hernand. I've played like 20 to 30 hours now.
Jesus. I mean, I don't know what that means, but that doesn't sound like you're very far.
I'm not very far. It's the starting area, basically.
I gotcha. Like the Great Plateau.
Not quite that starting. It's not just actual tutorial.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I gotcha.
I'm kind of looking over the Steam reviews of right now. Now, I'm intentionally looking at the negatives to see what people have been kind of saying, at least its detriment. And a lot of people are saying that like controlling it is a bit of a pain in the ass and the graphics can be a little bit muddled. What do you say about that, Chance?
I'm playing on PS5 and I have it on performance mode because I would rather just have a proper amount of frames rather than making it look nice. So I'm not a graphics person, so I don't really care all that much.
Mm-hmm.
It has been a little hard to see things at night, specifically with how the lantern works, because they just kind of made it a little bit too red for my liking.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just kind of a whatever thing.
I have that same complaint about Horizon.
Yeah, to be honest, I would say people not to pay 70 euros for this mediocre game. So it kind of fits with what you were talking about, how it's like, it seems interesting, but not $70 interesting.
Okay, now look back through those negative reviews and see like what the average of the amount of playtime is.
Let's see here. 17 hours, 62 hours, 26 hours, 31 hours.
Wow, I'm surprised.
Anywhere between 10 to... There's one here that's like 5 hours, so yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely that type of game where if you don't put at least 8 hours into it, you're not really giving it a fair shake, which I know is a big ask for some people, like to slog through about 8 hours of content before you're
Again, we played Final Fantasy 14. We had to go 100 hours just to get to the good stuff.
True.
My thing is, so if you play Cyberpunk like I do,
Yeah.
this is a good call for other people. If you play Cyberpunk and you ignore the main story and go do all the side quests, this is the type of game for you.
That sounds interesting.
Because the main story in this game is kind of whatever, and the real fun is going around and being like, hey, I wonder what's behind that waterfall.
If you're the kind of Skyrim player that doesn't do the main story and instead go do the wizard school thing or the thieves guild or literally anything but the main story, this game is for you.
I like the wizard school.
Well, I mean, if the main story is not going to hold your attention, then why not go and explore this giant open RPG game?
Yeah, exactly.
Especially since I've heard there's like so much to it that you wouldn't even expect, like banking, fishing, several other things in it too.
Yeah, it's so detailed it might as well be an MMO. That's crazy.
Well, it's fun. It's funny you say that.
Fun thing about the game, just a random tidbit again, you cannot do crimes unless you're wearing a mask. It will not let you.
You gotta hide your identity.
And it's ridiculous because crimes go anywhere from like intentionally stealing stuff from people to vandalism. So if you forget to take off the mask and then you go through somebody's pasture and you knock down their fence, it gives you a bounty for doing vandalism. But if you're not wearing the mask, then they don't care. They don't care at all.
It kind of reminds me in ESO how you have a setting where you can like accidentally either make it to where if you click on something, you'll steal something, or you could turn it off and it'll make sure that even if you click it, it does nothing. It kind of acts like that.
Oh, another complaint that I saw from other people that has gotten fixed since, or not fixed, but adjusted, is that the boss fights in this game are like so massively difficult compared to fighting normal enemies that it's like a hard wall for some people.
So, Dark Souls.
I was going to say at that point, as my fellow friends in the Souls community would say, get good.
That's it. You gotta
It's
get
the Dark
good.
Souls of RPGs.
I don't even know if I can call it an RPG. It's a very different. It's a different game.
The last time we discussed this game, it was kind of the controversy of the whole AI generative artwork.
I was just about to bring that up.
According to this article by GameSpot, apparently they updated it and replaced all the artwork inside.
And they apologized and gave the explanation that it was a mistake. They didn't do it on purpose.
I mean, I'm not exactly surprised. It never seems like you intentionally want to flub your game coming out by leaving AI art just for everyone to get mad at you.
Using an AI as a placeholder, I don't have a problem with it. And if accidents happen, okay, I get that. Taking it out, putting in an update to where it replaces it with artwork that, somebody else put in, it works fine by me. I have no skin off my nose. It's just when you get stripped of a Game of the Year and Game Debut Game Award because of it, that's kind of calling into question. And yes, I'm specifically thinking of Expedition 33.
I think the difference between the two, though, is that with Expedition 33, it was just one image. But with Crimson Desert, there was multiple images.
I would venture to guess that there's more images, just random background stuff in this game total. That's just an assumption, though, but I would imagine that's the case.
Well, either way, it got replaced, and I don't particularly buy their response, but I don't care about it too much to really harp on them about it.
However, it seems like not everybody's kind of happy with this interesting approach to its development. Apparently, this article by Gaming Bolt, Crimson Desert is a cynical amalgamation of borrowed mechanics, says Larian's publishing director. Now, if anybody doesn't know who Larian is, yep, they made Baldur's Gate 3, probably the most positively hailed RPG in recent memory. Saying that Crimson Desert's Pearl Abyss hit open-world action adventure borrows from several other big-name titles would be an understatement. Director of PR and Marketing Will Powers even said that it would be arrogant of a studio to say that other games do not inspire them. And while Michael Dowse, the outspoken director of publishing at Larian Studios, isn't necessarily disagreeing, he does have some strong opinions on the games. Crimson Desert is fun to play, but it is a cynical amalgamation of borrowed mechanics. It is now, that's what I call gaming, plucked off a gas station shelf, and for better or for worse. Expect a lot more of this in premium and free to play. There's less risk in it. So I think what he's trying to say is that this is a type of game that has so much to it, it comes across as it's trying to please everybody by putting every game mode they can think of into it.
Well, here's the thing about that. What he's saying isn't necessarily wrong. I think he is looking at it extremely cynically, and I think he's fair to do so. But there have been many popular games that steal ideas. Blizzard is notorious for stealing ideas, but doing it in the Blizzard way, which is usually better. I say usually because it's not always.
Now, I can't say anything in regards to whether or not they do it well or not. You'd have to ask Chance for that. But you're right on that a lot of games do borrow ideas from here and there. But I also think there is a little merit to what he's saying about if they try to throw in a whole bunch of just random game mechanics into a game to try to get everybody to play it as much as possible, then it just kind of comes across as the situation where if you try to please everybody, you please nobody.
Like at some point you kind of lose your own identity.
Yeah. But I don't think this is the case in this game, given the fact that, first of all, I think I saw a stat saying they sold, I think it was 3 million copies as of recording this?
I think it's up to 3, yeah.
Oh, surpasses 5 million.
Oh, okay, it's even more now.
Cool.
Oh, wow.
But my thing about the game overall is like, I don't think games need to be for everyone.
No, because if you try, I'm a firm believer of the stance, if you try to please everybody, you please nobody. And I think that's one of the reasons a lot of these like live service games have been falling apart. It's because they're trying to do everything they can to please everybody they can.
I'm going to go even further than that. It's not just live service, AAA games in general, because they need to take less risks due to shareholders, right? So they do what they can to please everyone, and obviously AAA games have been going on a decline.
Yeah, because it comes across as more of just trying to push a product rather than what gaming used to be, which was borderline an art format.
Passion
I mean,
projects.
Metal Gear Solid 1 and 2 didn't end up in the Smithsonian because they played it safe, okay? Everything, when it comes to gaming, a lot of people prefer it because it was an expression of artistic taste and passion projects. So when it's basically just, the next Madden game where it's just the same game over and over and over, it's just slightly tweaks here and there, it's going to go stale.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to really be a part of it. You pull out a game that's, like Crimson Desert, where it's a fantasy game that is basically just, a giant sandbox for you to mess around in. I can see it definitely has a lot more appeal than, just a cookie cutter game.
That's where I like to push back on people that try to throw around this narrative that AAA games are getting worse because of woke. It's not woke, it's that they're trying to appeal to too many people when they should be trying to find their niche and trying to appeal to those people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you try to make it to where you please everybody, you please no one. That's one of the reasons why, for example, the Doom games have been as successful as they are, is because they found their niche and they're sticking to it. They're not changing anything for the sake of whatever it is trendy or whatever most people scream loud to have in it. They do it because it's what their identity is and they're sticking with it.
And a lot of the times, like, if you just try to build a game that you yourself want to play, you're gonna find success. Like, there's no point in making a game that you don't want to play.
It's one of the reasons the indie developers have been doing so well as of late, is because of the fact that there's just a whole bunch of passion projects. It's clear that they have love put into them and people want to experience that.
Yeah, but to bring it back to Crimson Desert, from what I understand, it doesn't seem like they're trying their best to appeal to everyone, because I feel like it still only appeals to a certain sect of a person or a certain sect of gamers. I don't know, it just doesn't seem like something that would go mainstream,
Yeah, exactly. Like, I love waste your time games. Waste your time games is one of my favorite genres, like Factorio.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, Factorio's the big one, but I would also consider like Persona 5 Royal to be a waste your time game.
Yeah, I guess.
Just like a game that I can spend too many hours in, I think is one of my favorite types.
Like large RPGs.
So let me ask you this. Would you prefer a game that's just open world and doesn't really have too much of a story going on, or would you prefer a linear story title?
Depends. One of the things about Crimson Desert that I'm sure will probably annoy some people is something that I actually really like about it. It's that whenever you put a marker on your map, it just shows you the direction that the marker is. It doesn't mark roads for you or anything. So it makes kind of getting there part of the fun, because you're not usually just going to ride your horse the entire way. You're going to ride your horse and then you're going to get off and you're going to fly halfway there.
Okay, I get it. So half of the fun is literally figuring out how to get to the pin rather than just following a GPS, essentially.
Yeah, and if there's like a big mountain in the way, that usually becomes like a how do I figure this out type of thing.
That is literally just Breath of the Wild.
I was going to say, so Skyrim did something similar. Just put a pin on your compass and you're just like, all right.
It is very Breath of the Wild. But you know that thing that I always say when I bring up Breath of the Wild?
What's that?
It's that I think it's a fantastic game, but I don't think it's a very good Zelda game.
Yeah, I like to argue with you on that one.
That's how I feel about Crimson Desert. It's not a very good Zelda game.
You know what? I can accept that.
Hey, I'm neutral to this, so feel free to say whatever you want.
Yeah, random topic switch. So they had an update a few days ago that included 5 new legendary mounts, and they were free. It was not paid DLC.
Huh, that's pretty cool.
And one of the mounts that you can get is a wolf, and if you get off this wolf, it fights alongside you.
Wow.
Cool.
Yeah, it's just like little stuff like that they really didn't need to include in it, but they were like, this sounds like fun.
Yeah, that's some really cool shit.
I'm actually looking at the patch list for it, and it is an extensively long list.
They're putting their work in. I wouldn't say it came out a buggy mess. Like, it's not anywhere close to like No Man's Sky or Cyberpunk right when Cyberpunk launched. It's not even close to that. It's just like mild inconveniences that are kind of just like need ironing out type stuff. But one of the worst ones, which I will give them a little bit of shit for this. It is a game where you just pick up everything that you can find. It's one of those type of games where you just want to do it that way. Before, I think it was 3 or 4 updates ago now, they did not have a chest to put your items in.
So you're just carrying around a bunch of junk, and I assume you have limited storage, like inventory?
Yep. Actually, no, it's worse than I stated it. There is a chest. You could not move my items into it.
That's not a stash. That's just a frickin' piece of decoration at that point.
But what it did was it put items that you couldn't actively have on your person because you were too overloaded. It got sent to the chest, but it was only items that you obtained from quests. So like you couldn't just pick up more than you could carry and it would go to the chest. It would just, if you got a reward for a quest and you couldn't carry it, it went in there. And they fixed that, and now you can put stuff in your chest.
What a weird design issue.
Was that an intentional decision, or was that...
I don't know why they did that. All the people that played the game talked to the devs, and they were like, hey, is there anywhere like a storage chest? Because like I'm picking up a lot of stuff and I have nowhere to put it. And the devs were like, oh, we didn't think of that. Which is ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous.
A giant open world game, you're going to collect a whole bunch of stuff, and they're like, where are you going to store it? I don't know.
Figure it out.
Yeah. So that was a fun one. The game is slowly getting better, and it didn't start out that bad in the first place. That's basically my take.
All right, so out of 10, what would you give it right now, as it is right now?
For me, I would give it like an 8.5, but for like the general populace, I would say like a 7. Because it's just not a very for everyone type of game.
A very niche game?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess just in general, if you are curious about this game, it might be best to wait for some kind of sale. Otherwise, if it looks like something that you know you're going to get into, then it might be worth the $70 for you.
And that's how it was for me. I pre-ordered it.
Yeah.
I was like, this looks right up my alley.
It turns out you were right.
I was right.
Hey, sometimes you gamble and sometimes you win.
To be fair, every game that I pre-ordered, I ended up liking. I pre-ordered Nier Automata. That was the first game I ever pre-ordered.
Really?
Good game. Good, very good game.
Well, is there anything left to be said about Crimson Desert?
I was about to say, is there something you want to say? Because I've just kind of gushed over it enough.
I've given out articles on what various people said and got your opinion on it. I'm good to go.
We talked about updates, talked about AI. I think we're good to close this episode out. It's going to be a little bit of a shorter one, but hey, that's fine if I'm editing 2 videos in a week.
Yeah, agreed.
Thank you, everyone, for coming and watching. Chance, where can people find you at?
Chance of Music. It's on YouTube.
Cool. Xander?
You can find me on PlayStation and Steam under Alistair Wrightshoe.
And then I'm Blinded Light 09 in a lot of places. If you enjoy listening to 3 idiots who don't really have any credentials or right to talk about shit, give us a like and a subscribe. And then stay tuned for more.
We very much appreciate it.
And we'll catch you next time.
Later.
Bah.